Welcome everyone for today morning Bhagavat live program where we are studying from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, a very exciting subject matter and a chapter titled as Appearance of Lord Varaha. Lord Varaha ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Zoom in. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaye Namo Namaha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatai Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Nama Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopish Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining in. So let's begin with this 13th chapter. So 13th chapter, this has around 50 verses. And this, I'll just give you a little introduction of it, and then we'll take a look at it. And largely the subject matter is, we discussed in the previous chapter about the sons of Brahma. And the story began with the first four sons of Brahma being born, four Kumar, and Brahmaji gave them service. Please help me create progeny. This is what service. I'm a secondary creator. I need to populate the whole universe. And four Kumar says nothing doing. We are not getting entangled in all those things. Hare Krishna. There's a Bhagavat live meeting also. Okay. Earlier scheduled. Bhagavat live. Yes, sir. Okay. We're using the SR. Yeah. Fine. So what was I saying? Yeah. So then after that, Brahmaji becomes agitated. Rudra is born, and we read about the whole incident of Rudra. Was something very, very important in terms of our services. And then after that, 10 Manasik Putras were born. And after that, Swayambhuva Manu and Shatrupa. In one way, the first man and woman. Swayambhuva Manu. From Manu word came man. So before we get into this discussion, you just have to keep in mind that we are talking about the beginning of Brahma's day. First thing. Swayambhuva Manu, out of the 14 Manus, is the first Manu, that is the first Manvantara. So everything is being under creation mode right now. There exists nothing. Is that clear? So now you enter the chapter. Otherwise, you'll mix constants from here and there. That is the first point. Now, chapter 13 begins with Vidurji asking Maitreya Muni about Swayambhuva Manu and Shatrupa. What did they do? What happened next? And the initial verses are very important verses where discussion is about how hearing about the Lord is not different from hearing about the devotees of the Lord, particularly pure devotees of the Lord. So therefore, Vidurji's excitement and eagerness to know about Swayambhuva Manu is as good as hearing about Krishna or the Supreme Personality Godhead. So then Maitreya Muni begins to speak about what would Swayambhuva Manu do. Swayambhuva Manu went to Brahma. He offered his obeisance. He said, "My dear father, please tell me how can I serve you?" And Brahmaji is so happy. Finally, Kisi ne tu meri sharan li. Somebody came and asked me, how can I serve you? And then Brahmaji glorified Swayambhuva Manu. And Brahmaji gives 3 services to Swayambhuva Manu. First, create progeny. Second, rule the world according to religious principles. And third, perform sacrifices to please Lord Vishnu. Like this. And then Brahmaji says one more thing, which is a very classic verse for the purpose, for those who are managers, leaders, or organizers. Let's say within ISKCON, a very classic verse, where Brahmaji says, what is the purpose of organization? Please take care of all your dependents, make sure they're happily situated, and they are practicing Krishna consciousness. And that purport Prabhupada mentions what is the purpose of organization, why we have organized, created this ISKCON organization, what is the goal for which we are doing all this management and organization. That should be extremely clear to the leader. If the goal is missing, and then whatever we do, it will be futile. Like that, Swayambhuva Manu was instructed. Then Swayambhuva Manu says to Brahmaji, my dear Lord, you have made me the ruler of planet Earth. You want me to start my service from Earth. But where is Earth? Where is Earth? कहाँ है Earth अभी? Where is Earth? Huh? Earth is in Garbhoda question. Because it's a creation time, na? So Earth is not there. He said to Brahmaji, Brahmaji, Earth is not there only. Earth is down in Garbhoda question. और ब्रह्मा जी बोले अरे हाँ यार गड़बड़ हो गई अभी तो धरती ही नहीं है क्या करा जाए so Brahma ji was thinking like this, oh, how do we bring Earth back on its own plane? And that time from the nose of Brahma ji came out a boar, a very like a mosquito, a boar, and everyone was shocked. Arey, what is this? Now can you imagine what would be an adventure and surprise for Brahma? Now 10 Manasik Putra didn't happen because he thought of it, it just appeared from his thumb, from his mind, from his eyebrows, different parts. Now suddenly he's thinking what to do. From his nostril comes out a fly. Looks like a boar. And suddenly, as it comes out flying in the sky, it takes a huge form. And everyone is looking at it. Brahma, kya kiya abhi tune? What did you do, Brahmaji? What did it came? And suddenly this boar made a huge sound, which reverberated all across the 3 worlds. And for the devotees of the Lord, it sounded like Vedic hymns. So then everyone understood, oh, this must be an incarnation of the Lord. And that is our Varaha, Varaha Swami ki. And that Varaha goes right, he takes a dive deep into the Garbhoda ocean, goes deep inside, carries the Earth planet on his hooves and brings it and puts it back onto its plane. Like that, this particular pastime ends. Well, this particular pastime doesn't end here. And then all the devatas, all the sages who were there, they begin to glorify Varadev. And this is how the chapter ends. Now my question to all of you is, Prabhu ji, आपने ये क्या कहा? हिरण्यकाशिपु, हिरण्याक्ष के वध का क्या हुआ? Hiranyaksha was also killed, right? So when was Hiranyaksha killed? Hiranyaksha is also killed in the same chapter only.
प्रभु जी 2 वरादेव है ना?
हाँ
2 वरादेव है ना?
2 वरादेव हैं. कौन कौन से 2 वरादेव हैं?
नाम भूल रही हूँ मैं। एक
वरादेव
एक जिन्होंने ओशन लाया था और दूसरे वो हैं जो जिन्होंने हिरण्याक्ष को मारा था।
yeah.
Two times
नाम भूल रही हूँ मैं।
appearance of the Lord. To
Well,
appear, Lord appeared twice.
yeah, so here, when if you read the chapter, you will be confused because here matrimony has kind of in his mood of ecstasy have brought both the past tense together. So Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in her commentary makes a discrimination. He says, please understand the discussion what we are doing is of Swayambhuva Manu Manvantara at the beginning of the day when creation is happening, secondary creation. So because if Varadev would have come and killed Hiranyaksha, the question would come, yeah, Brahmaji just produced Swayambhuva Manu. How did Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu took birth? Where is their story? That's not possible. So, but however, in this whole chapter, after Varadev rescued Earth, then the next verse immediately says, and then Varadev fought with Hiranyaksh and killed him. And there the commentary comes very helpful. The acharyas, they help us understand. Well, that's not the case. That also happened, but that happened in 6th Manvantara, Takshusha Manvantara. Which Manvantara are you right now in? 7th Manvantara. So we should know Vedic time schedule. We are in the 7th Manvantara, which means the previous Manvantara, Chakshusha Manu, at the time of his reign, then Varadev had again appeared because of the exploitation by Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. The earth had fallen. Hiranyaksh, what was exploitation? The exploitation that is happening today. And what is that exploitation? Too much mining. Because of too much mining, the earth lost its balance and collapsed into Garbhoda Kosha. And if you look at today, mining is happening, which means at that point of time, what amount of mining they would have done because of which earth lost its balance. So that's the whole story. And then again, Varadev appeared and he rescued, and then he fought with Hiranyaksh to kill Hiranyaksh. Therefore, the next chapter will begin with Vidurji asking about this subject matter of Hiranyaksh. अरे हिरण्याक्ष कौन था? मैत्री मुनि, आपने ये तो बता दिया. What did Swayambhuva Manu do? He asked his father, but who is Hiranyaksh? And then the story of Diti and Kashyapa Muni begins from the next chapter. That's the flow of discussion. All right. So that's a mota thing. Let's take a look at it. Some lessons will highlight, and more or less is a straightforward chapter. Madam Madhav, if you wish to share screen, you can share. You have the rights. All right. Translation, text number 1. Sukdev Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most various virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear. So, this verse has one particular word, Vasudeva Katha Adrataha. Adrataha means who adores, who respects, or who is eager. So this particular verse talks about Vidurji highly respected transcendental subject matters. When you have a respect, where you have a respect, there you have eagerness. So therefore, Prabhupada mentions Vidurji had natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message, and he was not satisfied. He had questions after questions. Now, text number 2 onwards up to text number 4, there's a discussion about the importance of hearing about the pure devotees. Text 2, Viduraji said, O great sage, what did Swayambhuva, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife? O best of the virtues, the original king of kings, Manu was a great devotee of personality Godhead, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I am very eager to hear. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. Somebody would like to read here or online? I can have a reading partner from online. So my throat gets some break. Please read the purport.
Can I?
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. In the absolute world, there is no difference in quality between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee. Therefore, hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing of the character and activities of the pure devotee have the same result, namely the development of devotional service.
Text 4 is a very nice verse. Shrutasya pumsam suchirashramasya nano vanjasa shuribhiridito arthaha tattad gunanushravanam mukunda padaravindam hridayeshu yesham. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the characters and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead who awards his devotees liberation. So the idea is, where does the Lord reside? He resides in the heart of a devotee. So when you're discussing about the devotee of such a devotee, the subject matter cannot be separate from the discussion of Lord Krishna, because pure devotee is always remembering the Lord. Therefore, whatever he does it as a service of the Lord. So then when you talk about him, necessarily you're talking about Krishna only. So, transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada begins the purport. Reading the last few lines of the purport. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. Such pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are in fact recommended by the Lord as more worshipable than he himself. Worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. Can anyone think of any Vedic reference where worship of the devotee is considered more important than the worship of the Lord? Can we close the screen, please? Hare Krishna. Anyone? Any shloka that comes to your mind where worship of the devotee is more potent than the worship of the Lord? Okay. Anshul Prabhu, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, in Rameswaram, Lord Ram himself showed that
I'm
he
asking for
worshipped.
the shloka.
Okay.
Good example. Examples would be many, but I was looking for a shloka. Madam Medavni, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, Aradhanam api sarvesham, Vishnur aradhanam param, tasmatam parataram devi, tadiyanam samarchanam.
Samarchanam. Meaning?
Lord Shiva tells Parvati that of all forms of worship, the worship of Lord Vishnu is the best. But even better than the worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of Lord's servants, who are the Vaishnavas, who are devotees of Lord.
So, Aradhananam Sarvesham. There are many
Vishnu
forms.
Aradhana.
There are many forms of worship. Aradhananam Sarvesham. However, Vishnu Aradhanam Param. But worship of Vishnu is highest. Tasmat Parataram Devi. Tasmat means therefore, or and also. However, there is something greater than the worship of Vishnu. Tadyanam Samarchanam. Tadyanam means things related to Vishnu. And that refers to devotees. And also refers to paraphernalia. The deity utensils, deity dresses. So, a Kanishta Adhikari would only see deity, would not have respect for anything else. But here, this is a verse which is practiced in action by a Madhyama, where he sees everything in relation to deity to be of same value or a greater value. Why? Because it is used in the service of the Lord. So therefore, we emphasize many times, you cannot not have deity praise being clean in time. This is something which we need to do it and not clean it properly. We can't do a shabby job. With that plate, you're going to offer. What you're offering is our attempt to offer our whatever little love we have to the Lord. So that's the point here. Any other verse? There's one famous verse that comes in Adi Puran, where Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. Ye me bhakta jana pata, na me bhaktas chate, Janaha. Ye me bhakta jana partha. Partha means son of Pratha, O Arjuna. Those who says they are my devotees. Ye me bhakta jana partha. Na me bhaktas chate jana. They are not my bhaktas. Mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas. But mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas. Those who are devotees of my devotees. Te me bhaktatama mataha. Te me bhaktama mataha. I consider those devotees to be the greatest devotees. This is from Adi Purana, like that. So this was the subject matter here. The first part of discussion in this chapter about how Vidurji is excited to hear about Swayambhu Manu. And Prabhupada says, well, this is how the devotee should be. They should be eager to hear about Vaishnavas. Why? Because, the Lord resides in the heart of Vaishnavas. And in fact, Krishna is extremely pleased. The Lord is very pleased when his devotees are glorified. Text number 5 onwards. Sukadeva Goswami said, the personality Godhead Shri Krishna was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura, because Vidura was very meek and gentle. The sage Maitreya was very pleased with Vidura's words, and being influenced by his spirit, he attempted to speak. So Sukadeva Goswami says, how did Maitreya ji reacted to Vidura's inquiry? So Maitreya Muni was extremely pleased, knowing that Vidurji himself is a great devotee of the Lord. And it's no surprise, Vidurji is the same person who served Krishna, who hosted Krishna. Now, no wonder, he has such exciting inquiries. So text number 6, Maitreya Muni says, the sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after Manu's appearance, along with his wife, he went to Brahmaji, offered obeisances with folded hands, and he spoke. And what did he say? You are the father of all living entities, the source of their substance, because they are all born of you. Please order us how we may be able to render service unto you. So Prabhupada brings a very important point. There is Swayambhuva Manu, and there are 4 Kumaras. 4 Kumaras didn't do any of these things. They said Tata Bye. But yet they are glorified. Swayambhuva Manu went and offered obeisances and asked, my dear father, how can I serve you? Swayambhuva Manu is glorified. Swayambhuva Manu, being obedient to the father, is a pure devotee of the Lord. 4 Kumaras, being disobedient to their father, same father, are the pure devotees of the Lord. Now, how do we reconcile? As you all know, because the action done by 4 Kumaras was not against the Vedic injunctions, because they sacrificed, or they became disobedient to their father for the cause of serving the Lord. Swayambhuva Manu became obedient to the father for the cause of serving the father. So what was the purpose? Both had the purpose of serving the Lord. Therefore, both are glorified. That's the point here. Text number 8. Oh, worshipful one, please give us the direction for the execution duty within our working capacity, so that we can follow it for fame in this life and the progress in the next. And Lord Brahma, when he heard such words of wisdom and appreciation from his son, he became pleased and he said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered your son unto me with your heart for my instructions. O hero, your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. One who is beyond the limit of envy and who is sane, accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity. Something very interesting is happening here. How many of you agree looking at the words of Brahmaji? Brahmaji looks like a little excited. Brahmaji looks like, he is more than happy right now. How is he saying? This sort of adoration for the superior is required. Your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. One is beyond the limit of envy, who is sane, accepts the order of his father with great delight, and executes it to his full capacity. Do you feel a sense of Brahmaji is also grateful to Swayambhuva Manu? You have accepted, you have expressed your desire to follow my instructions. Why would Brahmaji? This is but natural, na? Brahmaji is pure devotee. Swayambhuva is pure devotee. As a devotee, we follow. So why Brahmaji seems to be grateful about it? And Brahmaji seems to be so excited about it. The answer is a very, very important point. We are in the material world. It's a place of rebellious souls. And among those rebellious souls, if somebody is willing to follow the one who already became disobedient to the instructions of the Lord and now trying to follow you, can you imagine how grateful you should be? You know, who are these fellows? You're not in Vaikuntha. And you know, the devotees come and say, Prabhu, and they mean the word Prabhu. You're my master. Whatever you say, we'll do that. This is material world. And everyone who is born here is a rebellious soul. Rebellious to whom? To the Supreme Personality Godhead. We all have disobeyed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those living entities who are disobeyed, now coming and saying to you, how can we serve you? Are you really serious? Yes, I'm really serious. Are you going to do it? Yes, I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm so grateful. Should be grateful. Therefore, if you see our acharyas have been so grateful for the services rendered by any living entity. Why Srila Prabhupada was so grateful? Because you know that these are the people who have disobeyed the Lord and they're willing to follow me. It is their greatness. And we should be so thankful and grateful for them. Therefore, Prabhupada was just a simple example. Remember, Prabhupada is giving a class, his Wednesday evening program in 26th Avenue. And there was a drunkard outside the 26th Avenue. He came. So how was this 26th Avenue? It is a long room. So you sitting here, you remove this passage. Is a passage, hai na? Is passage ko remove kar do. So this is the width of the room and make this width double. This is a 26th Avenue. And the front is all window because it was a shop actually. And then in the corner here, there is a door. And next to the door, there is a passage that goes into the building, which is a tall building, a long building, a tall building. And from the passage comes another entry from here. Because this is a shop, the shop would have its public utility. Not public utility, I mean to say the toilet. So from the corner gate, you enter and there is a bathroom. So which means you have a wall straight going like this, and there is a passage, exit, and there is a toilet. So this drunkard goes inside the building, opens a side door. When Prabhupada is giving a lecture, he goes inside the bathroom, attends nature's calls, and then realizes, "Arey, yahan to toilet paper hi nahi hai." Because Prabhupada wouldn't use it. You know, Prabhupada had a mug in his style. This fellow goes out, a drunkard goes out, goes to the shop, buys a toilet paper, comes back all the way, goes inside the toilet, puts the toilet paper, and Prabhupada is observing all this thing. And when he goes away, Prabhupada says, every living entity has an inclination for seva. I was so grateful for that man just coming and putting a toilet paper. You know of this pastor, you know?
Yes,
I hope you have understood how was the situation over there. And Prabhupada says, I'm so grateful for him for this thing. And that's how Brahmaji. So when we're dealing with people now, we should kind of have a sense. Two things we should realize. One, where we are. And second, what we have signed up for. If somebody has signed up for a guru-disciple relationship, there is no question of disobedience. Don't sign up for it. You're supposed to follow. Because Guru's role is to instruct you and to chastise you. And while you're dealing with the public at large, don't become a self-appointed guru and start instructing people saying that, tumhe mujhe follow karna padega. No, it doesn't happen. Unless somebody accepts you to that position, you have no right. And if somebody follows you, you should better really be grateful because of the nature of this world. All right, text number 11 onwards. Brahmaji, since you are so I'll give you a summary here, what's happening here. So he says 3 things you need to do. First, beget children, qualified like yourself, rule the world according to Dharma, and worship the Lord by performance of yajna. Let's go to text number 12. The aim of administration. Why do we do so much management, organization, administration? What is the purpose of it? That's the verse. O King, if you can give proper protection to the living beings in the material world, that will be the best service for me. When the Supreme Lord sees you to be a good protector of the conditioned souls, certainly the master of the senses will be very pleased with it. Very, very profound verse. Kasharpu, go ahead, read the purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
The
Krishna.
whole, the whole administrative system is arranged for the purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. Brahma is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Manu is the representative of Brahma. Similarly, all other kings on different planets of the universe are representatives of Manu. The law book for the entire human society is the Manu Samhita, which directs all activities towards the transcendental service of the Lord. Every king, therefore, must know that his responsibility in administration is not merely to exact taxes from the citizens, but to see personally that the citizens under him are being trained in Vishnu worship. Everyone must be educated in Vishnu worship and engaged in the devotional service of Rishikesha, the owner of the senses. The conditioned souls are meant not to satisfy their material senses, but to satisfy the senses of Rishikesha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the purpose of the complete administrative
This is the
system.
key point. That is the purpose of the complete administration. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of administration? The purpose of administration is to engage everyone in the service of the Lord. Purpose of administration is to engage. Therefore, every leader, his prime responsibility is to create service opportunity. What is a job profile? Everyone should have clear job profile. Nah? What is the job profile of a leader? Job profile of a leader is to create service opportunity in such a way 24/7 his dependents can be engaged in service. Because if you don't create a service opportunity, wherein by default you engage? Your own senses. The best sense gratification is eat prasadam and sleep. These are two things. We all love it. So there needs to be. You look at Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, how much he pushed for book distribution. Look at Srila Prabhupada, how much he pushed for book distribution like this. So like that, the leader has to be always thinking about what's next, what's next. If something becomes monotonous, how to add excitement to the life, how to add adventure to the life, what else can be created. That's a job. That's a simple job profile of her. And for this purpose, we do all the administration. Now, Purpose says something far much more, this was exciting. Now, scary part. One who does not know this is a show bottle administrator. One who does not know that his job is to create service opportunity, not only create, ensure everyone is engaged in seva, is a show bottle administrator. Now, if you have to engage people in seva, which is generally against their will, because by default our nature is more towards sense gratification. Now, to engage towards seva, there's going to be little pressure. Pressure would be mounted. Pushing would happen like this. So how it happens? By training the citizens in the devotional service of the Lord, the head of a state can be free in his responsibility. So how do you engage people in the service? Every administrator has to ensure that there's a proper training being provided to the members of the community. Training in deity worship, training in prasadam cooking, prasadam offering, everything, book distribution, giving class. A complete training is offered so that devotees have the required skills to engage in services. Otherwise, he will fail in the onerous duty entrusted to him and thus be punishable by the supreme authority. So, it is far safer, far better to be a dependent than to be a leader. At least being a dependent, you're not so much questioned or punishable for not doing. But as a leader, if you don't engage, there is no other alternative in the discharge of administrative duty. Hare Krishna. All right. So, Brahmaji next says, well, Lord accepts all kind of sacrifice. If everything is done, but does not please Krishna, is of no use. Text number 14. Manu says, all right, my dear Lord, please tell me which place. Let me know my place. And there are the living entities born of me. So, Manu says 15th, O Master Demigods, please attempt to lift the earth, which is merged in the great water, because it is the dwelling place of living entities. It can be only endeavored by by your endeavor or by the mercy of the Lord. As I said in the beginning, the earth was drowning in the Garbha of the ocean, and Maitreya Muni, 16th onwards. So I have summarized this, and I'll say again what happened between 16 to 23 years. So Brahmaji is also wondering, how do we restore Mother Earth on its planetary system? At that point of time, when Brahmaji was thinking like this, Varaha appeared from his nostrils, grew up in a big size like this. And text number 20. 21. Is this some extraordinary entity come in the pretense of a boar? It is wonderful that he has come from my nose. First of all, boar was not seen no bigger than the tip of a thumb, and within moment he grew to be humongous. This has to be Vishnu. While Brahma was deliberating with his sons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu roared tumultuously like a great mountain. And that made it very clear. This has to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivened Brahma and the highly elevated Brahmanas by again roaring with his uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions. Text number 25. When the great sages and thinkers who were residents of the Janaloka Tapaloka heard the tumultuous voice of Lord Boar, which was the all auspicious sound of all merciful Lord, they chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas. And here comes a word, Maya, Maya. And here comes an interesting beauty of Sanskrit. Text number 25, purport, first line. Maya. What does Maya means? Maya also means mercy. Maya also means specific knowledge. And Maya also means illusion. So how do you understand which meaning goes with this particular reference? For that, we always have to have a context, which means we cannot understand things in Vedic paradigm only on the face value. To understand things in the Vedic context, you have to have a complete context, a picture, what is being discussed. Then only you can decode. And to be able to have context, to have the ability to understand context, it requires certain amount of intelligence. If that intelligence is missing, then we are just quick to evaluate people on the face value. That's the point here. And which means mode of goodness. So next, text number 26. So playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers of the great devotees. The Lord is the object of Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. The purport is largely about how can a boar be the Lord? And Prabhupada says, why can't boar be the Lord? Lord can take any form. Even if he appears in a boar, he is still transcendental as much as Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yuveti Tatvata. Krishna standing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra saying that about my Janma Karma are all transcendental. He can take any form, everything is transcendental. So why can't he be in a boar form? Text 27. Kaushal Prabhu, read the translations. 27th onward.
Before entering the water to rescue the earth, Lord Boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusk.
Next.
Text 28, translation.
Go ahead.
He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful, and he glanced over the devotee Brahmanas engaged in offering prayers. Thus he entered the water.
So this is the discussion which is here. How he entered. That discussion goes over to text number 30. He entered and he rescued earth. Now let's go to text number 31. What happened after he rescued the earth? Text number 31 says, Lord Boar very easily took the earth on his tusk, got it out of the water, and he appeared splendid. Then his anger glowing like Sudarshana wheel, he immediately killed the demon Hiranyaksha, although he tried to fight with the Lord. So here Acharya says, Srila Jiva Goswami has been quoted here by Vishnu Chakra Thakur and then Srila Prabhupada also. Well, there is two pastimes being mixed together. And they have been brought. So this is a very important junction for all of us to pause here. And when we are reading pastimes, if in case it contradicts your thinking, your ability to comprehend the subject matter, then we have to look into what Acharya speaks about it, because it could be that pastime could have occurred in different manvantara or different kalpa. Here we're talking about the same kalpa, but here our speakers like Maitri Muni or Sukhdev Goswami, or in case Narad Muni will also be, becoming a speaker for a while. When they discuss things, they mention things from different kalpa, from different day of Brahma. So can you imagine how much intermixing of things would happen? So please remember that when you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, otherwise you will be confused about it. So we have already explained the concept of two different Varaha. Text number 32 onwards, Kaushal Prabhu.
Thereupon Lord Bo killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and the tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth.
Continue.
Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of a tamal tree, and thus the sages headed by Brahma could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Now, text number 34 until the end of this chapter are the prayers. There are some very, very beautiful prayers. But we will not have the time to look into it. I'll just highlight few points about those prayers. I'll just read the translation, so at least you're familiar with the prayers. And when you do your personal reading, you can look more into details. Text number 34, Rishaya Uchuhu. All the sages utter with great respect. O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories, all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. O Lord, your form is worshipable by performances of sacrifice, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others are in touch of your skin. In your body, hairs is the kusha grass, in your eyes is the clarified butter, in your legs are the 4 kinds of votive activities. O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice, your nostril is another plate of sacrifice, and your belly is the eating plate of sacrifice, another plate of sacrifice, the holes of your ears, and your mouth is a Brahma's plate of sacrifice, your throat is a plate of sacrifice known as Soma, and whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra. O Lord, thus the petition of your appearance is a desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is the place for 3 desires, your tusks are the result of initiation, and the end of all desires. Your tongue is the prior activities of initiation. Your head is the fire without sacrifice, as well as the fire of worship. And your living forces are the aggregate of all desires. O Lord, your semen is a sacrifice called Soma Yajna. Your growth is the ritualistic performances of the morning. Your skin and touch sensations are the 7 elements of Agni, Stoma sacrifice. Your bodily joints are symbols of various other sacrifices performed in 12 days. Therefore, you're the object of all sacrifices called Soma and Asoma. And you're bound by yagnas only. O Lord, you're the Supreme Personality of God and worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you, who can be realized with a pure mind, free from all visible and invisible metal contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. O lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted with your tusk, is situated as beautifully as a lotus flower with leaves sustained by an infuriated elephant just coming out of the water. So which means when he goes inside the water, you understand the analogy here? So just like an elephant goes inside the water or a pond, which is filled with lotus, and then he takes bath in there. So the lotus leaves get stuck into his tusk. And when he comes out of the water, the elephant looks very beautiful because his tusk is now, decorated with the lotus leaves, and at times could be lotus. That's how Varaha looked like. Oh Lord, as a piece of the great mountain become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has become beautiful of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusk. Oh, what comparison hai. O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non-moving, this earth is your wife, and you're the Supreme Father. And what happened with Earth being with a wife? Who took birth? Who took birth? Who was the son of Varaha? Who, because of the touch of Varaha to Bhumi Devi, appeared?
Narkasur, Prabhu. Narkasur.
Narkasur, Bhamasur. All right. And Narka Chaturdashi is on the corner. Probably on the 13th is Narka Chaturdashi. All right. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency, just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the Arani word. Here, Prabhupada writes about the law of gravitation. The so-called law of gravitation, which sustains the planet, is described herein as the potency of the Lord. This potency is invested by the Lord in the way that an expert sacrificial Brahmana puts fire in the Arani bush by the potency of the Vedic mantra. Like that. You can read it. More things are mentioned here. Text number 43. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you. However, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe, by your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. So Prabhupada is saying, just like the sages are giving all credit to the Lord, all the sages have not witnessed Lord creating the universe. Similarly, any and every sane man should give credit to this beautiful creation of the Lord, although he may or may not have seen who created this. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planet, Janatapa Satya. But still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. So what happened when the Lord Boar went inside the ocean, brought the planet Earth, put it back into his planetary system? Now the body of the boar is wet. Have you seen a sewer? जब वो कीचड़ में जाता है, नाले में जाता है, when he goes to sewage, he goes inside and comes out, shakes his body, shakes the body, and all the water gets sprinkled. So the sage is saying, because my dear Lord, you came out and you shook your body, and from your transcendental body, those droplets fell on us. Although we are the residents of the most pious lokas, yet we became purified because of, in other words, Charnamrita coming from your body like that. The Prabhupada says the hog body is considered impure, but because it was Lord, therefore the sages are glorifying. Oh Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of activities is certainly nonsensical. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your cosmic mercy upon these conditioned souls who are trying to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unlimited. So these were the prayers. Coming to the concluding section, Maitriya Vachan. The sage Maitriya said, the Lord, being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hooves and placed it on the water. Text number 47. In this manner, the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of living entity, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode. If one hears, this is the concluding of the pastime, this is a Falashruti. If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Boar, which is worthy of description, the Lord was within the heart of everyone, is very pleased. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of God is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfection stage by the Lord himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. So, pleasing the Lord has been glorified, that you need nothing just to try to please the Lord. Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs? Rashtrapu, read the purport. Last purport.
The narrations of activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. Devotional service to the Lord is the highest goal of life for every human being, and such devotional service begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Only an animal or man who is almost an animal in behavior can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. There are many books of stories and histories in the world, but except for the histories or narrations on the topics of the personality of Godhead, none are capable of diminishing the burden of material pangs. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to the non-humans. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, 13th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha.
So this was a simple, straightforward chapter. Prabhupada haven't also written too many purports here. Now, what is the rest of the story? You are at the place of Vidurji, and you just heard from Maitreya Muni about Swayambhuva Manu and Swayambhuva Manu's inquiry from Brahma, who will protect the earth. Lord Varaha appears, all that happened. And during the course of conversation, Maitreya Muni talked about Hiranyaksha. But obviously we'll ask, Hare, who was this powerful demon Hiranyaksh? Who could drown planet Earth? That is the next question. And that's how the next chapter starts. And then Maitreya Muni begins to talk about how this Hiranyaksha was born. He was a son of Diti and Kashyapa Muni. But the point is, at the beginning of the creation, when everything is, being tailor-made, done by Brahma or Brahma's son, how can you have inauspiciousness? Then comes the discussion of pregnancy of Diti. So during different times of the day, different activities has to be done. Astrology traditionally has been used not for future telling, but astrology traditionally has been used to find out the Muhurta. Muhurta means an auspicious time where you want to do something which produces auspicious result. So the pregnancy of Diti, which will be described next chapter, occurred in an inauspicious time. It was dusk evening time, almost twilight time. And that's a time, just like around 7:30 sunset happens, right, here. So 2 hours before the sunset time, it is said to be a time where it is prescribed certain things should not be done. One thing which should not be done is we should never sleep. It is a time of Lord Shiva's, parikrama of the creation, along with his Bhutaganas. And whoever, that's a time where, we should be engaged positively in devotional activity. And that time we do certain things like sleeping. So that's the time, that time and certain time in the night where you can get attacked by ghosts, hobgoblins, etc., etc. So that is a time when Diti had approached Kashyapa, and we'll read that details. Kashyapa couldn't say no to the charms of his wife. He also got agitated, etc., etc., and he agreed. And because of that, Hiranyakashipu were born. So Kashyapa, after procreating with his wife, told her, well, you made a big mistake. Now, why did Diti approach? Diti was also a daughter of a great Bhamana. She approached Kashyapa because she became envious that Aditi have got sons. I don't have son. So the woman's nature would get discussed a little bit about that. And she approached without paying attention, auspicious and auspicious time, although knowing very well. And Kashyapa couldn't say no to the womanly charms. And then when they performed the act of procreation, after Kashyapa was, that agitation was gone from his mind, when he was back in his frame of mind, then he said, well, what we have done is totally wrong. Diti, sorry to say, but you're going to give birth to 2 very, very ferocious demons. And Diti was like, oh no, why my sons have to be? Please understand, Diti is not demoniac. Diti, Aditi, they all daughters of great sages. She said, why my sons? And Kashyapa said, well, your sons are going to be the great enemies of Vishnu. Oh no, they're going to be great enemies of Vishnu. Oh, my whole life is spoiled. My whole life is wasted because not my birth, but for all the time to come, people will say, Diti ke putra the, Diti ke putra the. Everything, his whole reputation is spoiled. Then she requested her husband, my dear husband, please give a blessing. That, or she requested, or Kashyapa said, when she pleaded, that you please do something, change this course of action which is about to happen. Kashyapa said, I can't do anything about it. It's going to happen now. And then Kashyapa says, well, but I can give you this affirmation. Your sons will be killed by the hands of Vishnu only. Then she became pleased. The sons have not been born. She is so attached to the future sons that she is wondering about the well-being of her future sons. The moment Kashyapa said the sons will be killed by the Vishnu, she became so happy. Oh, my sons will attain liberation. Because they'll be killed by Vishnu, na? So they'll attain liberation. If they were envious of Vishnu but not killed by Vishnu, then they would have gone down. So the sons are not even born. That is the motherly nature. She became so attached and so worried about what's going to happen to my sons like this. So then Viduraji heard like this, then Vidura thought, oh, so who were these two powerful sons who appeared to Diti? Abhi pura past time ho gaya. Ab Vidurji, when you are excited, you want to know about it. Then Vidurji said, my dear Maitreya Muni, all right, I understand all this thing. But from where did these two powerful sons came? So powerful that they had a direct combat with the Lord. And now Vidurji is not an ignorant person, right? Vidurji knows everything, which means somebody is having a direct combat with the Lord. Has to be a Parshad of the Lord. So can you please tell me who were they? And then Maitreya Muni said, all right, let us go back to Vaikuntha Loka. Once upon a time, that is your next chapter, which brings us to description of Kingdom of Godhead. Once upon a time, 4 Kumaras thought of visiting Vishnu at Vaikuntha Loka. Now, this Vaikuntha Loka is not outside of this material creation. There is a planet called Vaikuntha within this material creation where 4 Kumaras went. Okay? So, because they were Gyanis, impersonalists in that way, not Mayavadis. So there's no way for them to penetrate and go beyond. Similarly, Durvasa Muni, when he approached Vishnu, it's not that he penetrated the 7 layers and went beyond. No, he went. Only person who penetrated the 7 layers and went beyond was Arjuna. And that Krishna only took him. Krishna took him. So nobody can go beyond the 7 layers. If you can go beyond, then you're already liberated. Now, why would you come back here? So just again giving a point. So when you read the pastimes, so we say Vishnu Loka, that is within this creation where Vishnu resides. So 4 Kumaras goes there, and then the whole story with Jai Vijay, which all of you probably know of it, and 4 Kumaras cursing Jai Vijay. That's a very, very incredible pastime. Lot of nuances. Vishnu Chakra Thakur has his own way of looking at it. Another interesting part is those of you who likes to go at different dhamas or different places of pilgrimage, this chapter will take you to the place of pilgrimage known as Vaikuntha. There's a detailed description about how Vaikuntha Loka looks like. And that's how the whole story will continue for a few chapters about Jai Vijay and etc. This goes for 3-4 chapters like this. And I believe with that, the first part of 3rd canto probably ends, isn't it? Or maybe, no, the chapters will continue. Yeah, it will continue in the next part. That's how the whole flow of discussion goes. All right, fellows. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Jaguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I thought just to give you a little bit. Now this is whole storyline, and there's going to be some important lessons coming. Chapter 14 is filled with many, many important practical tips. We'll take a look at next time. Anyone else to add or clarify? Yes.
You said that 4 Kumaras went to Vaikuntha Loka. So this Vishnu is the Shirodaksha Vishnu?
Yeah, Shirodaksha Vishnu. He's addressed largely as Shirodaksha Vishnu. Again, I'll have to look into details of it, but he's largely said the Shirodaksha Vishnu stays in Shir Sagar. So even Brahma doesn't have access. The Purusha Sukta prayers in the 2nd canto, 6th chapter, which are there, those are the prayers which are offered to the Lord whenever Brahma and they all go. So it's not Shirodaksha Vishnu probably then. His name is Hari. This Vishnu now, who is there like that. I'll take a look at it.
You said that when Lord Varaha appeared, all the residents of Janaloka Tapoloka offered praise. So at the same time, we see that earth was submerged in the water.
So where were they? So as I said, so where were they? They were not there only. So which means this prayer, what we're talking about, is being discussed after Lord killed Hiranyaksha. So Maitreya Muni has already mixed the past tense, na? So that is what is happening. Because at the beginning of the creation, where are they? So now these prayers are mentioned after Lord has killed Hiranyaksha. And Hiranyaksha was killed in 6th Manvantara. And by that time, everything is there. So it's but logical that this is in continuation of the 6th Manvantara pastime. All right? Okay. Okay, so thank you all.
Prabhuji, has the Zoom platform changed?
Zoom platform and the Zoom ID?
Yeah.
Yeah, for today class, Zoom ID got changed for Friday class because they were not able to create a live streaming.
So it will be the same or it will change
So
again?
for morning, our TLC, whatever has been shared before will remain as it is. Only for Friday for this month, it will change. After Kartik is over, again we'll go back our standard ID.
Okay.
Actually, there